All right, ladies and gentlemen, so far we've done some one-step and two-step equations. And ultimately, when we're solving for a variable, our goal is to get it down to the point where ultimately we get it down to x equals, or the variable equals something. But basically get it down to a one or two-step equation that we can solve rather quickly using just addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay? A lot of equations aren't quite set up that way yet, so we've got to get them there. The next two videos, combining like terms and using distributive property, are going to help us get them there. Okay? Now the first one, combining like terms, sometimes equations will have more than one variable term. And when I talk about combining, I'm going to add or subtract the terms that have the same variable and the same exponent. For instance, okay, so what's the difference between like terms and terms that are not alike? If I was going to combine two terms, they have to have the same variable, same exponent. Sometimes they don't have a variable at all. 3 plus 4 is an example. I can combine those two together and I get 7. I could also have 2x plus 3x, and when we combine terms, we're only combining the coefficients. The variable stays the same. So in this case, 2 plus 3 is 5, and since the variable is the same as x, I have 5x. Could also have terms that have an exponent other than 1. For instance, 2y squared plus 2y squared. Okay, again, the variable is the same and they both have the same exponent. So when I combine those, I combine the coefficients. 2 plus 2 gives me 4, and the variable and exponent stay the same. And that works out when I have the same variable, same exponent. I just combine the coefficients. Okay. On the flip side, I cannot combine a number like 3, or two terms like 3 plus 4x, because in this case, the 4 has a variable with it, x, the 3 does not. And when I come across that, if I have an expression like that, or an equation, 3 plus 4x is simply just 3 plus 4x. I can't combine those. Okay, so I just write it out. Another term might be where I have x squared plus x. Even though they're both x's, the exponents are not the same. And of course, if I have something like 3y plus 2x, okay, variables are not the same. So I can't combine them. And if I was going to write it out, or I had something where I had to combine it, I would just rewrite the whole expression. Okay? So let's see how this looks with a problem, with an equation. So let's say I had an equation like 2c plus c plus 12 equals 78. And I wanted to solve for c. Okay? The first step I'm going to do is I'm going to look. Do I have terms that have like variables with like exponents? In this case, these two guys right here. So my first step really in this case is going to be to combine my like terms. 2c, and remember, if there's no coefficient, there's really a 1 out front. So 2 plus 1 is 3. I have 3c, and since the 12 does not have a variable, I simply bring it down. Okay, I write that expression on the left just like that. But this is an equation, so I've got to bring the rest of it down. Now, just like in the last video, you can see we have a two-step equation. I'm going to undo addition, then I'm going to undo multiplication. And this is where I make my little line, and I'm going to undo addition, multiplication, or I'm sorry, addition, subtraction first. This is addition, so I'm going to subtract the 12, and I have to do that to both sides. The 12s cancel, the 3c is left alone. 78 minus 12 is what, 66? And now I have multiplication, and I undo multiplication by dividing. The 3's 1 out, c equals 22. So what I've ultimately done, now I've just basically got one extra step. I combine like terms, I get it down to a two-step equation. Undo addition, undo multiplication. And I could check my work. I could either plug in the 22 here, or a lot of students, I always just go back to my original. That's the safest way to do it. So if I plug that in, I get 2 times 22 plus 1 times 22 plus 12 equals 78. Running out of room, sorry. 2 times 22 is 44. 1 times 22 is 22 plus 12 equals 78. 44 and 22 gives me 66 plus 12. And then 66 plus 12 is 78. And we're good. All right. So combine like terms first, then just treat it like a two-step equation if you can.